So I'm cutting these into squares because I'm going to use a sander, and I'm going to show you why I'm going to use a sander. Just dropped my sander. Damn. Okay. I didn't have my scissor, man. You would think I would be more prepared. Okay. So I'm going to use a sander first. Let me do the overhead camera. Let me see if my my image is good on the overhead cam. Hold on. There he is. Okay, we're over here. All right. So take a look at these two Kirbys here. If you have one of these, any old Kirby, this is going to work on any old Kirby that you have, okay? Or even anything that's die-cast aluminum or metal, you can use this technique, okay? And we'll go from there, okay? Now this Kirby is already, I was working on it already. If you notice, its whole body is all taken apart and all that stuff. But I only need a few pieces of the metal to show you what I'm going to do, okay? I don't need a whole lot. But I did want one with some scratches on it. So you see those scratches right there? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to take out scratches out of metal like this, okay? And how to bring the shine back, all right? That's why I was looking for my mask, because to do it right, you would want to use a buffer. Now I have a buffer at my shop that is the two big buffing wheels. It's a stationary buffer, like a grinder, like the grinding wheel. And I would just hold it there, and I would just, and that's how I would buff it. Okay. But today, for this particular demo, I'm going to use like a drill with a buffing thing at the bottom. You can get these at Home Depot, Lowe's and stuff like that. Okay. All right. So I have two types. I have a fluffy one. Let me try to open this up. What's going on? Why can't I see this? Give me a second, folks. Hey, Brian. I'm sorry, man. See, that's what I was trying to find. I was trying to find my chat stuff. Hey, what's up? Here we go. Let's get started. All right. Now, you can start with an ointment like Flitz. Okay. You can start with Flitz. Okay. All right. Here's what I do first. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a low grit sandpaper. This one is 180. This is 180 grit sandpaper. Okay. Now you can go lower, but if you go lower, you're going to have to work harder to get this stuff out. Okay. So I'm going to start with 180 grit sandpaper. Okay. You can do 120. You can do 80. I've had to do 80 before and 80 is very rough. Okay. And, but I'm going to do 120 because I don't think I need that much. No, I'm sorry, 180. I don't think I need that much for this. So let me move all this other stuff out the way. Okay. And let me start here. Let me get this off. Now, when I work on these, I do like to take this off because when you buff it, you don't want all this stuff in your way, okay? So let me just take this off for now. This is the belt lifter. Some people have a tough time putting these on. I do have a video of how to put these back on the channel. But see, now I just have the plain head, okay? And I actually like it on the Kirby because of the weight. And because I don't want this thing like moving all over the place while I'm trying to buff it, okay? So I'm going to actually put it on the Kirby, guys. Okay? I'm going to put it on the Kirby only because, again, I like it to be held still while I'm trying to do this, okay? All right, here we go. So let's do the sander first. Let me show you what I do. Part one. Okay? Part one. Oh, really? that's cool, man. That's cool. That's cool. All right. So now we did that first part. Now let me see if I can get this up to the camera. So you saw the scratches before. Okay. Now what you did was create a whole bunch of scratches, but let me see if you can see it properly. Okay. Now on that, see that angle? See, so the scratches are actually gone. See that? Okay. But what you did is you did create a bunch of scratches. So what you're gonna end up having to do is to like you're gonna take it down to small mini scratches. Okay. So now I'm gonna put on. You can get a 600 if you like. I'm just gonna do a 400 for now. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do a 400. So that was a 180 grit. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to 400. It's even finer because I don't want to have to try to buff out the deep scratches that the 180 made. Okay. So now I'm gonna go now to the 400. Okay, now if you can get all the way up to 800, that's even better. Okay, if you can get all the way up to 800, that's even better. But right now, this is what I'm working with right now. All right, so let me put this on. So now I have two types of buffing wheels I'm going to use. I have one that's a cutter. You could tell I use this a lot. Let me see if you can see it. All right, if you look at the stitches, it's like really tightly woven together. Okay. And then I have one that's a little looser. Now this one's been used up, but this is what it would look like fairly new, like this. But this is the finisher. Okay. So I'm gonna use the cutter next to just kind of cut away at some of this. Okay. Again, this is where you would need a mask. So I've done this a few times, so I just know how to position myself a little bit away, but it's still definitely recommend you use a mask when you do this, okay? Now, not only do I use this cutting wheel, but I have two different types of compound that I use. I have this is the hard. They come in different colors. You have the brown like this, okay? And then there's a green. Where's my green? There's a green. My green is kind of worn down, but I'm still gonna get some use out of this. And you have the green, right? I think there's a white also, and there's a gray. Okay. The gray is probably the one I would use more for the cutting, but I don't have that right now. Okay, so you can use this for now. Okay, the brown one is still okay. Mm-hmm. And I think the white is for like when you're really trying to clean it. You're trying to clean, but it leaves a lot of residue behind. Okay. All right. So anyway, here we go. Let's start with let's cut it. Okay. So now I'm going to use this. All right. And let's get rocking and rolling. Let's see. All right. Let me put this on the ground. I don't want, because I have the wheels on, don't want it to move. Okay, let's get started. See, it is already moving. It's already moving. I don't have a way to clamp this down. Oh, okay. All right. Don't worry about it. We'll make it work. You know what? I'm gonna take the wheels off. Okay. Yeah, just give me a second. I don't want to deal with this moving all over the place right now. So let's take off this axle here. Okay. And I just want it flat on the ground. I don't want any movement right now. So, but if you have a buffing wheel, that's the best way. Okay. There we go. We got some resistance. Okay, here we go. Now, let me see which direction mine is turning. Okay, mine is turning to the right. So be careful when you get to the edge. Okay, what I like to do is flip the direction and have it go the other way when I have to go to this edge. Okay, because what's gonna happen is gonna keep jamming it like that. It's gonna keep trying to jam it. Okay, so do this. All right. Now what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna flip it and I'm gonna do it the other way. All right. If you now you saw what just happened just now, it just kind of like you know. So you have to be careful with with the edges. All right. So now it's not done yet because I still see a little bit of the tiny little swirl, just a little bit of it, enough for you to know that I did something to it. I don't like the swirls to be there at all, so I do take my time. I slowly um, Oh, yes, yes. That's happened to me, and that's how I learned too. That's the same way I learned, bro. That's the same way I learned. So, but to speed it up, so the way I would do it, I would take my time, slowly but surely, kind of keep going over this. Take your time. There's no rush, man. All right. All right. Then And again, like I said, right now I wouldn't leave it like this because let me see if you can see what I'm looking at. Swirls I'm talking about. Let me see which camera can show it best. Which camera can show it best? If you can get, you probably can't get it. Gosh, you might be able to see it, but and this one is the light. You see? Uh, Well, yeah, there it is. Kind of little, you can see the little swirly stuff there. Okay. So I would keep going until I don't see the swirls anymore. Okay. But it's 100% better. How's that? It's way better than the other side, which still have all the scratches and stuff in it. Okay. Um, Here's one more. Ugh. Here's another one. I'm not done yet though, but so far so good, right? So far so good with this. Okay, so far so good. And then you just finish it off. Stay on it until the scratches are gone. Just stay there and let it buff until no more swirls are in there. And just remember, the higher the grit, the 600, 800, you kind of work it down where you hardly have any of those little at all. You almost don't even see it. But there's a big difference between, let's say, this, okay, and this. See that? That alone. Now, what people can do with the Kirby's throughout the to keep it going is just use some flits as ointment to kind of just maintain it. Um, that's a good thing to do. But when it comes to deep scratches, you're gonna have to buff it out. Okay, there's no way around that. All right. So far, so good. All right. So far, so good. Oh man, yeah, it looks way better already. Now let me. Here's a good contrast. So I'm gonna use this one because both sides look the same, and sometimes, man, they look so busted that they're discouraging. You don't even want to touch it. Um, but let me do the same thing. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna show you what. Let me use the ointment, and I'm gonna show you what the scratches look like because it's hard to see here, but the ointment will actually show it up because it's gonna try to buff. The ointment is gonna try to clean it, but instead is gonna just reveal. It's really just gonna reveal the scratches. Let me show you. Okay, you see this way? Okay, now let me lift it up so you can see it. Okay. And also this discoloration, this water discoloration on this. There you go. There you can see the scratches right there. Okay. All right. So it takes care of that also. Sometimes you can't do nothing about that because it's so deep. All right. So let me give this one a crack. Okay. All right. So yep. Let me switch out the paper again. I'm gonna put back on the 180. When I first started, I used to do the 80, man, because I mean, there's some people had the scratches were so deep, it was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be doing this for 2 days if I don't cut it real fast. So what I would do is start with the 80, but then you're gonna have to just work your way up, one 120, 180, 300, 320, 400 like that. It's just, so let's go for it. Obviously the scratches even more there. Maybe you can see them, but they're there. I'm trying to get to the lighting. The lighting is a little wonky. All right, so here we go. We do it again. When you get all these out. Okay, all right, so that's looking better. So let me do that for 400 again, and then you'll be able to really look to see the difference between the two sides of this one here. And so now when I buff them, guys, I take the whole Kirby apart. So I have all the metal is in my hand separately, like the headlight, the cover, the handle, everything is I'll take all the plastics off. Okay, I don't want any plastic around. This is just for the, only reason this is just for here. But when I'm actually doing it, everything is stripped down. So all I have that I'm working with is metal pieces, so I can maneuver them and manipulate them and kind of get them to where I want it. Okay, let me put this Kirby back on. So yeah, so I don't buff. When I'm buffing, if I'm wiping with the ointment, I can leave the stuff on. But when I'm actually buffing it, I don't want to have to deal with scuffing up all this and if the buffing wheel hits it too hard, you can actually kind of eat away at some of the plastic. So I don't want to have to deal with that. Okay. All right. So, all right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, even as it is, right? You can probably give it back like this and they'll be happy, right? It's crazy that the Kirby, it looks really nice when it's polished, man. I'm surprised more guys are not making their units out of the die-cast. The metal itself is light, right? The body used to be made of metal. They just painted. Now it's plastic, the body itself. It's the motor and the transmission that really give the Kirby the weight. That big motor. But the actual metal is lightweight metal. So that shine is something else, though. All right, let me get this. And you probably don't want to wear a shirt or something that you don't mind getting soot on, because this stuff will fly all over the place. My wife hates it if I buff in the garage, so I normally don't. I don't do it anymore. I used to, and the stuff got all in the ceiling, Yeah, it was crazy. So, so, all right. That's kind of I'm like 80% there. I haven't again, it's for time, for the sake of time and stuff like that. So now when you're finishing it off, okay, you get your deal here, okay? And you're buffing your little fluffy buffer. And sometimes I'll even use a hardened one that's been around a while, one that's had a little bit of let me do it the way I would do it. I would use one of these ones that's had some time on it, because what it's going to help me do is cut a little bit more before the final polish. Here we go. All right, and then I would go on this side again, like I said. Oh, hey, when that happens, your buffing stuff, the screw, the nut, whatever, it comes off. So that's never fun. Hold on, let me see if I can get this back on. Give me a second. Well, I'm actually done with this part. I'm done. Yeah. Full face, bro. Full face. Yes. Full face mask. That stuff will get all over you. So I'm taking a hit for you guys. All right. I'm taking a hit. I got my good shirt on and everything. I got my good shirt on, man. Okay, because listen, I buffed and I've seen stuff get all on your sleeve and everything. So just be careful with that, okay? All right, here we go. Let me do this one the other way. And when this thing is brand new, the cotton or whatever just start flying all over the place. So be mindful of that too, okay? Here we go. All right, I'll leave it at that. I don't want no more stuff flying in my face. But here we go. Let's take a look at what we got. Okay. So on one side, we have the way the Kirby looked. And on this side, we have the gloss. See that? Big difference, right? Here we go. Big difference. Is that cool? But that's how you would do it. I also do the same thing with the with the shaft. I do the same thing with the shaft. I sand it down, move this out of the way. Oh, I'll take the wheels off, of course, because this part really gets mucked up and yucked up, this little section here. Okay. So I take the wheels off, pop them off. They're these inside the head, inside the wheel, I'm sorry. You have these little caps, right? You just pop them off like that. Okay. Last one should pop out right here. There it is. I missed one. Ah, here we go. Comes right out. And then you have your get this bad boy off. And when you do this, have this, hold on, where is it? Have this on the ground. Have this part on the ground, touching the ground as an anchor, and then take it off. Okay? Because if you don't, it'll flip around and probably hurt your finger or something. So now, yeah, so what I would do now with this is I would sand this also. Cut your time in half. Because when you buff it dirty, um, it takes a lot longer for you to get it clean because of all that buildup. So the sand just kind of cuts through all of that. Okay. And you can still use and I'll be honest, for me to buff this now, it's just a little, you know you okay, you know what it would do. It was just but it's better if it's a standstill buffer and you can control it, you can control it like that, and you can kind of move it across and stuff like that. But when you have to use a drill to do this one, it becomes clumsy. Okay. All right. So that's that, guys. That's that on the buffing for the Kirby.
Yes!